people like Trent, Alexander-Arnold, Andros Townsend, these sorts of guys we've worked with from young ages.
Scott, before we start, I'm really intrigued to know the first thing. Did you always wanted to be a football agent from when you were young?
My dad, arguably, I think was one of the first ever agents, looked after people like Maradona, Gascoigne, and all those guys kind of coming through. I was in and out of various academies when I was younger, and eventually ended up playing football over at LA Galaxy for a short period of time before setting up the company when I came back. I decided to go into celebrity management first, purely because I didn't want people to say I was John Smith's son if I was going to go into football. And we signed a guy called Hugo Taylor, who was in a TV program called Made in Chelsea at the time. When we signed him, we had no company name. He knows all of this now and we laugh about it. And we signed him to a contract a few days later, managed to get the company set up in that short period of time. And then 6 weeks after that, we managed to get him into ITV's I'm a Celebrity. We're quite fortunate that we've been able to work with some of the biggest stars. I mean, I mentioned Harry Kane earlier, working with him, people like Trent Alexander-Arnold, Andros Townsend, these sorts of guys we've worked with from young ages. Again, Andros is someone who, I've known Andros now since he was 17, 18.
Is it a case of you start with just one or two clients in the lower leagues and you've got to build up your reputation that way? Or is it more of a case of you've got to know the right people in the right places?
I'd say it's a mix of both, really, because if you want to go and sign a player from Man United, you've got to be able to go and watch that player. So you can't get into the training ground unless you know the right person to get you into the training ground. Whereas if you want to go and sign a player from, let's say, Crawley or Exeter, whoever it might be, or Wrexham, chances are you can probably just go and watch that player in a reserve game or a 23s game without having a pass. Being a people person, being able to understand people and their actions and their words and the way they come across is probably the best skill out there, because I can be sitting in a boardroom with 7 different people and I need to understand each of their individual traits so I can understand what they want to hear from me and also how far I'm able to push the boundaries. So the work experience is key in learning and developing your social skills as a person.
What is the most important, your relationship with the club or your relationship with the clients?
They're both very important, but your client has to be the highest priority, because that's the person you're looking after. That's the person whose career you're responsible for. You know, going back in time, seeing Andros play for England and score on his debut at the time was an amazing feeling, not necessarily for anything to do with me, but for him. And seeing Trent lift the Champions League trophy and those guys. And we worked alongside with the FIFA Awards in London a few years ago. And we were going out with people like Messi and Neymar and Ronaldo when they were coming in. But one of the most inspirational people I've met at the time was probably Steph Curry. Just having conversations with him about his career and what he wants to achieve and how far he can take it and what he's looking to do is just unbelievable.
What advice would you give to your younger self? Obviously, you've achieved a lot, so...
Probably the best is yet to come. To be patient, don't want everything overnight, but also know that hard work pays off.